Oh boy, I'm excited because today I get to show you my favorite building in all of Washington, D.C. Hi, I'm Joe Himmeley. Today I'm at the Mendota, a 1901 pre-war cooperative in the Kalorama neighborhood built in the Beaux-Arts style. There's so many cool details inside, but before we even get there, just on the front door, you'll notice it has the louvered door here, and above it, there's a transom. These were installed because before the days of air conditioning, you had to get cross circulation through the building. So each unit would have a louvered door and a transom above it. And if you look at the neighbor next door, you'll see there's a transom above that one as well. And back in the day, before air conditioning, everyone would have their transoms open so you could have cool air blowing through the building. On the inside, you'll see that there's what's called a transom operator. This was used to move the transom up and down and hold it into place. Sadly, this one's been painted over, but if it weren't painted over, it would be brass and it would be beautiful. Below the transom in the foyer, there's something really interesting. This is the front door of the unit, and right beside it is another door. It's missing its handle, and you've got to wonder, what is that for? That second door was actually an entrance to the adjoining unit. That's because when this building was built, it was a rental, and you could rent one unit or two or three, and they could all be interconnected. And you can see the front door of the neighbor's unit and the side door or side entrance from inside this unit right here. Coming out of the formal foyer, you'll enter into the living room. And there are a lot of neat things in here. The first thing is, of course, it has 10-foot ceilings, and at the very top, the original plaster crown moldings. The fireplace is a crown jewel of this unit. Look at this. It's all birch wood, which is very unusual. And there are lots of little intricate details. Underneath here, you'll see that it has an egg and dart motif. On the corners, it has an acanthus leaf instead of egg and dart. And here below, we have the bead and reel detail. I love it. Underneath that, on the surround, we have the original Victorian tile with an iridescent finish. It's just gorgeous. Then we have down here the hearth. The hearth also has its original tile with this pencil tile detail here. And then we have the fireplace itself. You'll notice that it has a gas line in it. When this was built in 1901, the gas line was an indication that this was a sophisticated city building. That's because you wouldn't want wood burning. Wood burning fireplaces required ash, clean out, and that sort of stuff. But if you had clean burning gas, you were very sophisticated. And I love on the back, it has what's called a fire back. There's a fleur-de-lis pattern, it's cast iron, and just gorgeous. The quality of your floor is partially determined by the length of the boards and whether or not the boards are quarter sawn or flat sawn. Quarter sawn means that the rings of the tree are perpendicular to the cut of the board, and these are quarter sawn. And I'll show you that in a moment. The other thing to note is there are no knots in the wood, and that's because this is heart pine. It's from the center of old growth timber. All the heart pine in the US basically has been chopped down, so this floor is extremely rare. When it was installed, pine floors were less expensive than oak, and ironically now, a heart pine floor is more expensive than an oak floor. So if you look at these floorboards, you'll see there are very, very thin lines. Each one of those lines is a ring from the inside of the tree. And notice how close together they are and how perfectly vertical they are to the board. That is a quarter sawn board. And quarter sawn is important because it's more dimensionally stable, meaning it doesn't move around as much, and it doesn't splinter as easily as flat sawn, which is cut the other way. Another feature you may not notice immediately is the length of the floorboards. Look at this single board. It's almost 16 feet long as a single board. That's very impressive because it can only come from old growth lumber. I love the pocket door. It's 9 feet tall and it leads into the formal dining room. These are not original windows, but the building was very careful 25 years ago to make sure that these are exact historic reproductions. Interestingly, they're made of mahogany, and the sash cords were replaced with sash chains, which are more expensive. They're double insulated, they're perfect. And then if you look below, another detail in these historic pre-war buildings are the baseboards. You'll notice that it's very, very high, as opposed to a modern baseboard, which would be half the height. Okay, check this out. This is the corner china cabinet. It's got its original leaded glass on here, no cracks in the panes. It's also made of birch wood, and I love that it has its lock sets. There's one at the top and one below. Look at this one below. It's still fully functional. Here, the original key from 123 years ago is still there, and the lock works. And look at that. I love it. Just a couple other close-up details. Here's the leaded glass, just magnificent. And over here, you can see the original ball top hinges and the reed detail here on the side casing. The kitchen's been updated, so there's not much historic left. It does have a washer dryer, stainless appliances, and granite counters. And there's one historic touch left, and it's here. This is an old cold storage cabinet. And originally it would have had a little tray underneath, and you could put an ice block in there and use this to keep your dairy products cool. It's got a spacious bedroom, and one of the last vestiges of the old gas light system is here. This is a cover plate for the old gas line, because when this was built, there was no electricity and it was a gas-lit building. I've sold a lot of units in this building, so I know what the original baths looked like. And this one has been updated, but with a lot of details that harken back to its original design. Starting with this. This vanity has been replaced, but it's made with Carrara marble. There are only a couple left of the originals in the building, and they were Carrara marble as well. Down here on the floor, you'll notice it's Carrara marble here as well, and it's a hex pattern. It's a 2-inch hex. The original floors also had 2-inch hex patterns, but they were ceramic tile. Of course, there's a clawfoot tub. I'm not sure if the clawfoot is original to the building, but it's definitely period. And I love this tile here. It's a subway tile, and now it has a cracked glazed finish. I'm not sure it was like that when it was installed, but after 123 years, things happen. If you look up a little further, you'll see that there's a detail tile here, and it's got an ovoid shape. Here it's got egg and dart, and then here it's got a bead detail. I love it. And lastly, we have the original medicine cabinet. It's right here under the window. I love the radiators in this building. I wanted to point out that right here, it only has one pipe on it. This is called a single pipe steam radiator. If it had a second pipe on the other side, that would be called hydronic. A hydronic radiator runs on hot water instead of steam and is a little bit cooler. These radiators are much hotter and much more decorative. Here's a close-up of all of the intricate detailing that's put onto the radiator, and some of these have been stripped and they look magnificent when they are. A big thank you to my good friend Vince Hurto from Continental Properties for letting me show this unit. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll like and subscribe and tune in for our next excellent house tour.